Yeah, this is, I mean, I think what you discussed most recently is what troubles me the most about it. But it's also something that has made me wonder if I've gone too far, kind of in the opposite direction. And that is, I mean, my kind of large fear as someone who is engaged so often in discourse with people who are non-Catholics, who are
Mhm,
investigating church. My focus is so much on them as an audience, right? That's just who
mhm.
I am always thinking about as an audience. I'm thinking about non-Catholics, listening to this. And I have had countless conversations and fielded countless comments. And I mean that not just hyperbolically. I mean, maybe I could count them, but dozens of comments about people asking me and kind of expressing concerns about this public dissent that they're seeing, this kind of
Mhm.
online internal warring, and it was causing them true concerns, like because we keep talking about the theological unity, we keep talking about ecclesial unity, the marks of the church, right? Like I'm thinking
Sure,
catechism, like I'm thinking as a catechist here,
sure.
right? And then there's like this whole mess online, and so all I can think about is just like stop, like just stop, like it's not worth it, it's not worth, like even if some of the stuff you're saying is good, like it's just not worth it. Now I recognize though that like there is a place for criticism, right? Healthy criticism, charitable criticism, without dissenting. So when and kind of how do we know it's a good time for healthy criticism? Like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's a good question. By the way, your question reminds me of a scenario that I've often noticed. It's like we're not paying attention when we're offering some of these criticisms, and in fact dissent in some instances. It's like we're not considering, well, how does this look to non-Catholics who are looking in? We don't really consider that. And I pointed out not long ago that we're effectively telling non-Catholics two mutually contradictory claims in some instances. What
hmm.
we're saying is you have to be a member of the Catholic Church or you can't be saved. And, we'll present that as outside the church, there is no salvation. Now, believe me, I've studied the history on this thoroughly. So I understand that some people can exaggerate the meaning of that. But what they'll do is they'll say, well, outside the church, there is no salvation. And thus, you have to become a Catholic. And we're telling them that. But then on the other hand, we're also having these discussions about how the Pope is a heretic and he's worshiping idols and demons. And what we're telling the non Catholic is, well, in order to be saved, you have to be in communion with a heretic and a demon worshiper. And so it's a internally inconsistent and contradictory position when we're presenting some of these things, which is why I tell people, well, I think you went wrong whenever this is the position that you're effectively conveying, and you're telling people they have to be saved in order, but in order to be saved they have to be in communion with this heretic demon worshiper. It doesn't make any sense. But but I think your original question was, how do we know when to say
Yeah,
something? How do we know when to criticize? Um, Look, I don't think everything is wise to necessarily criticize. I mean, um, there could be some trivial issues that we disagree with the Catholic Church and some of its prudential decisions, and it's probably not wise to nitpick the church and criticize every one of those things. However, if there are some serious concerns, I do think that it would be important to vocalize some of them. I'll give you an instance. What if, having studied the issue very thoroughly, you're under the impression that the magisterium, or the teaching authority of the church, though not exercising its infallible magisterium, but exercising its authoritative yet non-definitive magisterium, what if you're under the impression that such an exercise has contradicted something else that the magisterium previously taught,
mm,
and you're concerned that the magisterium made a mistake here and has not um, accurately guarded and preserved that previous teaching. Um, Now, again, we're speaking in the context of something non-infallible, non-definitive. So we're not talking about a failure to preserve something essential or infallible. We're not talking about that kind of dereliction in the church's duty, but we're talking about potentially the church in a non-infallible capacity or even a disciplinary capacity, failing to sufficiently account for something else that the magisterium has said that demands our assent and that is authoritative. I could see a person who has studied the issues very well to make sure that that's the scenario. Um, I could see them expressing some concerns to their bishop, to others, to the Pope, and hoping that maybe by expressing those concerns, the church will take a second look at this and help either reassure us that there's no contradiction here, or will resolve this matter of conflict. Are you confused about how Catholic teaching authority works? With encyclicals, papal bulls, councils, and many other things, it's easy to get confused on what is authoritative and what is not. Fortunately, at maximusinstitute.com, I have prepared a course explaining the magisterium from A to Z. Visit the website and check out the course Understanding the Magisterium for more information. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see the full video, go to the link in the description. And also, while you're at it, hit the subscribe button. God bless.